Breathe. Right now, in this moment. I need you to stop trying. Stop searching for the answer. Stop attempting to see the whole path. Stop pushing yourself to figure it all out. Because you don't have to. You've been carrying a burden that was never yours to carry. You've been trying to see something that wasn't meant to be seen yet. You've been demanding that you know the entire plan, before you can take the first step. And that's what's breaking you. But here's the permission I'm giving you tonight. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to see the whole map. You don't need to know how everything will work out. All you need is to take one step. With me. Right now. And that's enough. Let me tell you what you've been doing. You wake up, and immediately you start calculating. You begin mapping out the path. You attempt to see around every corner. You try to anticipate every problem. You work to figure out every answer, before you even ask the question. You've turned your mind into a planning machine. Your thoughts have become a prediction engine. Your focus has become entirely consumed with understanding, comprehending, figuring out everything. And you're exhausted. The exhaustion you feel isn't from working hard. It's from thinking hard. It's not from action. It's from overthinking. It's not from moving forward. It's from mentally preparing for every possible scenario. Your brain is tired. Your spirit is weary. Your soul is saying, please, just let me rest. Please, just let me stop trying to know everything. But you keep pushing. You keep demanding answers. You keep insisting that you need to understand before you can move. You keep holding the belief that knowing equals safety. It doesn't. Let me tell you the truth, and no amount of figuring it out will give you certainty. No matter how much you plan, life will surprise you. No matter how much you prepare, circumstances will shift. No matter how completely you think you understand, there will be elements beyond your control. So why are you still trying? Why are you still demanding that your mind provide answers it cannot? Why are you still insisting on comprehension before action? Why are you still waiting for complete understanding, as a prerequisite for your first step? Because you've been taught that's how it works. You've been trained by a world that says, before you move, know everything. Before you step, see everything. Before you try, understand everything. And you've internalized that as truth. But it's not my truth. My way is different. My path requires not knowing. My journey demands that you release the need for understanding. My calling asks that you trust before you comprehend. And that terrifies you. Because in your world, not knowing means danger. In your experience, uncertainty equals risk. In your history, moving without complete understanding has hurt you. I understand. I see your fear. I feel your resistance. But I'm asking you to try something different. I'm inviting you to release the burden of figuring it out. I'm requesting that you put down the weight of needing to know. Just for tonight. Just for right now. Just for this one moment. Can you do that? When I say, take one step, I don't mean the massive journey. I don't mean the complete transformation. I don't mean the entire path from here to your destination. I mean one single step. One small action. One tiny movement. One gesture toward the direction I'm showing you. That's all. Here's what one step might look like. It might be making a phone call you've been dreading. It might be sending a message you've been rehearsing. It might be having a conversation you've been avoiding. It might be taking a class you've been considering. It might be stepping away from something that's been draining you. It might be reaching out to someone you've been thinking about. It might be something that seems so small, so insignificant, so minor, that your mind dismisses it. But that's exactly the point. The greatest journeys don't begin with grand gestures. They begin with tiny movements. The most profound transformations don't start with massive action. They start with incremental steps. The most powerful progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens one step at a time. You don't need to know what step 10 looks like. You don't need to understand step 5. You don't need to see step 3. You only need to see the step in front of you. The one step that's available to you right now. That's all I'm asking. Step 1. Not steps 1 through 100. Not the entire staircase. Not the whole mountain. Just the step that's directly in front of you. When you take that step, the next step will become visible. When you move forward with what you know, the next direction will be revealed. When you take action on what's available now, the path will unfold. But you're waiting for the entire map before you'll take the first step. And that's keeping you stuck. You're standing at the base of the mountain, refusing to move, until you can see the peak. You're at the beginning of the path. Paralyzed, until you understand the entire route. You're ready to move, except you're not, because you need more certainty first. But there is no more certainty coming. The path will not reveal itself until you move. The direction will not become clear until you take action. The next step will remain hidden, until you take the one in front of you. This is how faith works. This is how growth happens. This is how transformation occurs. One step. Then the next one appears. Then you take that. And the next becomes visible. It's a process of progressive revelation. Not all at once. Not completely up front. But step by step, it unfolds. And here's the miracle, by the time you look back, you'll have traveled so far. You'll have moved so much. You'll have progressed so completely, all while only ever taking one step at a time. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But you're trying to plan 1,000 miles before you'll take the first step. I'm asking you to trust me differently. I'm inviting you to take the first step without the complete map. I'm requesting that you move forward, with only the knowledge of what's directly in front of you. That's all you need. That's all you've ever needed. I know you're tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. Not the kind of tired that rest can solve. But the kind of tired that comes from carrying too much. The kind of tired that comes from thinking too hard. The kind of tired that comes from trying to figure out something that was never yours to figure out. You're tired of not having answers. You're tired of not knowing. You're tired of feeling uncertain. You're tired of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You're tired of the waiting. You're tired of the uncertainty. You're tired of the not knowing. And in that tiredness, you've made a decision. You've decided that you can't move until you feel better. You've concluded that you can't take action until you have certainty. You've determined that you can't go forward until the exhaustion lifts. So you stay still. And the exhaustion grows. Because stillness doesn't fix exhaustion. Waiting doesn't reduce weariness. Inaction doesn't create energy. In fact, the opposite is true. Movement creates energy. Action generates vitality. Progress builds momentum. Even small steps. Even tiny movements, even one step forward, creates a shift that revitalizes you. But you're waiting for the revitalization before you'll move. I'm telling you something different tonight. Move first. Take the step. Take action. And then, watch what happens to your energy. The step itself is the medicine. The movement is what heals. The action is what transforms the exhaustion. You think you need to understand to move. But you actually need to move to understand. You think you need certainty to act. But you actually need action to gain certainty. You think you need the answer before the step. But the step itself is often the answer. This is the invitation I have for the weary soul. Stop carrying the burden of figuring it all out. Stop demanding that your mind produce certainty. Stop expecting that rest will come before action. Instead, take one step. Just one. Feel the shift in your energy. Notice the movement. Experience what happens when you release the need to know everything. The weariness comes from the weight of uncertainty. It lifts when you choose to move forward anyway. That's the secret the weary soul needs to understand. You don't heal by thinking about healing. You heal by moving. You don't gain energy by resting. You gain energy by taking action. You don't find the path by studying it. You find it by walking it. And you find it one step at a time. So I'm giving you permission tonight. Permission to not know. Permission to be uncertain. Permission to be incomplete. Permission to take just one step, without understanding the entire journey. That permission. That's what will free you from the exhaustion. I need you to understand something about how lasting change happens. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with one massive action. It doesn't happen when you finally figure everything out. It happens through consistent, incremental progress. It happens through one step, then another, then another. The strongest buildings aren't built by constructing the entire structure at once. They're built, one brick at a time. One foundation at a time. One level at a time. The most beautiful gardens aren't created with one massive planting. They're cultivated, one seed at a time. One growth at a time. One season at a time. The most powerful transformations aren't instantaneous. They're gradual. They're step by step. They're day by day. But in your desire for immediate transformation, in your hunger for instant breakthrough, in your need for the complete answer, you're dismissing the power of one step. One step builds a foundation. Another step builds on that foundation. Another step creates momentum. Another step reveals the next direction. And before you know it, you've built something magnificent. Not all at once. But steadily. Gradually. Step by step. I'm asking you to trust this process. To embrace this rhythm. To accept that you don't need to see the complete building before you lay the first brick. You just need to place one brick. Then the next. Then the next. The master builder doesn't start with the entire building visible in the material world. He starts with one brick. It's solid. It's real. It's placed. And from there, the structure emerges. You are the builder. Your life is the building. Your steps are the bricks. And right now, I'm asking you to place the next brick. Just one. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be completely understood. It doesn't need to fit perfectly into a grand plan. It just needs to be placed. Because one brick is how every building begins. When you step back after years of steady progress, when you look at what you've built through countless small steps, you're going to be amazed. You're going to think, I never knew one brick at a time would create something this magnificent. But it will. It always does. This is the foundation principle. Stability comes through consistent, small movements. Strength develops through incremental progress. Lasting transformation occurs through one step at a time. Not through perfect understanding. Not through complete planning. Not through figuring it all out. But through taking the next step. And then the next. And then the next. So here's what I need from you tonight. First, I need you to release the burden of understanding. Let it go. You don't need to know. You don't need to have figured it out. You don't need to see the entire path. Make a declaration: I release the need to understand everything. I trust that I will know what I need to know, when I need to know it. I let go of the burden of figuring it all out. Second, I need you to identify your one step. Not the 10 steps. Not the 100. Not the complete journey. Just one step. What is the single action that's been on your mind? What's the tiny movement you know you need to take? What small thing have you been avoiding that would move you forward? That's your step. Comment 144 if you're committing to just one step. If you're releasing the need to figure everything out. If you're willing to take the step that's in front of you, without complete understanding. 144 is the master builder number. It's about stable foundations and steady progress. When you commented, you're announcing that you're building your foundation, one brick at a time. Third, I need you to trust the process. The next step will appear after you take this one. The direction will become clear as you move forward. The understanding will come, as you walk the path. But you have to take the step first. Subscribe to this channel as a sign of your commitment to simple, steady progress. Share this message with someone who needs permission to stop figuring everything out and start taking action. And then, take your one step. Tonight. Today. Right now. Make the call. Send the message. Have the conversation. Take the class. Reach out. Move in the direction that feels true. Just one step. That's all I'm asking. That's all you need. That's how the journey begins. Take the step with me. I'll show you the next one, when you get there. Just one step.